Welcome back, everybody, to the Spillin the Teacups podcast. We are three authorized Disney vacation planners here to spill all things Disney. And ladies and gentlemen, we are thrilled to have the one, the only Clint Hodge with us tonight.
Hey, everybody.
Many of us that in our agent, we are a large group of women, and
Yep.
Clint is the sole proprietor there. Bringing in the XY
I am.
gene to the group.
I feel like that's a really good niche to have, though.
It is.
I feel like a lot of guys would, or people that are I don't know about you guys, but I get a ton of husbands that plan the trip. I could never imagine my husband planning a trip, but husbands reach out to me all the time and they're like, my wife doesn't, she's not doing anything. We're doing the whole thing. And I find it wild because I'm such a control freak, but I feel like a man would rather talk to a man about this, right? I mean, that's a good niche to have.
It is. I'm 100% that way. I am plan. My wife is, hey, let's go tomorrow kind of person. And it drives me up the wall. I don't know how people function this way. But yeah. It's cool being the only guy. Everybody is introduced as, hey ladies, hey, all the females, and then I'm kind of that person that on the side, what about me?
Yeah, well, what about
Yeah.
you, Clint? Tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, and how long you've been doing this.
So I am from Birmingham, Alabama. I have been a travel agent with Disney and some other vendors for the past 3 years. I have 4 children and I have one grandchild. And my wife has recently joined me as well. So we both kind of tag team our kind of small family business. So
Nice.
that's that.
That's is.
Awesome.
And why did you want to join us for the Fort Wilderness episode?
So Fort Wilderness, I would consider this my home resort. This is where I would rather be. As oddly as it is to say, I don't like crowds of people. I don't like people on top of me, near me. You
That's
wouldn't
the
think that
person who
about
goes to Disney all the time.
Yeah,
But
right. Everyone's rolling their
if
eyes
you are
like, what?
if you are like me, you get that breath of fresh air when you go to Fort Wilderness, and you've got just a little bit of extra space. You've got that scenery, you've got that greenery, and it's just kind of a fresh breath of fresh air, kind of away from the hubbub of the parks and the busyness. So it's a good break.
Do
I
you have
love
a
that.
camper or an RV?
So we have before. My parents have a travel camper, and I have a fifth wheel. So we've done the cabins at Fort Wilderness before. I've got a large family, like I said. So that's going to be a resort that's going to accommodate 6 or even up to 10 people on your trip. So you can get a lot more bang for your buck. So we've done the fifth wheel, we've done the travel camper, and we've done a cabin as well.
Awesome. All right, so let's dive in. So Disney's Fort Wilderness Campground opened in November 1971. That's just over a month after Disney, like Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom opened up. Excuse my dog's barking in the background. This is considered a Magic Kingdom area resort located on the shores of Bay Lake, which is adjacent to Wilderness Lodge and across the water over from Contemporary Resort. 750-acre campground consists of cabins that sleep up to 6, which has a bedroom that has a queen bed and bunk beds, and then a double-sized sleeper sofa in the living room with like a small kitchenette. These are regularly about $550 to $600 a night, but usually you can snag a pretty good deal depending on the discount around, and that's like $350 to $400. I think they're considered a moderate level. If you're thinking the cabins, that's a moderate level resort. These cabins are rumored to be kind of transitioning to DVC rentals. That's Disney Vacation Club. Those that have it's Disney's like timeshare. So that is rumored, and we don't know an exact date on that, but we'll stay tuned. The campsites are complete with full hookups, and pricing on these are based on size and location. So they have like preferred and premier, And Clint might be able to dive more so into like the location of these campsites, but depending on how close you are to the kind of the activity center, the pool, the restaurant, that will increase your price. If you're brave, you can even pitch a tent. And I have actually considered that, like straight
I
up
have
renting a
too.
I have to.
cheap
I have
one.
too.
We'll do it eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
eventually. Oh my God, we should have like an agent camp out.
Oh, I would love that.
That'd be so fun.
Yes, wouldn't it? So go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I'm shocked that you want to do that though.
Really? My
Yeah,
bouginess?
Miss
I know.
Bougie.
Listen, I'll camp for like a couple nights. The like
One night.
the communal bathroom area. I have had clients that went and took pictures, and I've watched videos of them. They're actually pretty clean.
Yeah.
Like
They're
the community
very
bathroom.
nice.
Yeah.
It's Disney. It has to
Yeah.
be
It
clean.
has to be, right?
Exactly.
They're clean.
Right.
Okay, so there is bus transportation from the campgrounds to all 4 of Disney's parks and a boat access to Magic Kingdom.
Mhm.
We have to note that this was the biggest complaint of my client who stayed there last year, is that there is no car parking. So they did stay in the cabins, and the cabins were, they said, I mean, we're quite a ways from like where the main pool was, and they drove there and they couldn't even get a parking spot. So they either had to take the internal bus transportation, or they had to walk a good bit, or there's golf cart parking everywhere. So renting a
Okay.
golf cart
Right.
is something that they have on, right? You can rent a golf cart from.
Yeah. So what we do is obviously us being travel agents, when a client books with us, that's something that we take care for them as well. So you can book a 4-person a 4-person golf cart in advance. I believe it's roughly $65 to $69, depending on the time of the year. They also have 6-person golf carts, but for whatever reason, they have a limited number of those. They don't, you can't outright rent one of those or have a reservation for one of those. The way they want you to do is everybody make a reservation for a 4-person golf cart in advance. And then when you get there, if they happen to have a 6-person cart available, they will allow you to rent that one instead. And that one's around $89. And even if while you're there, maybe you took a 4-person and later a 6-person becomes available, you can ride it over there and swap it out.
That's interesting.
So yeah, the thing about transportation, it's the biggest con that a lot of people can't deal with when we're talking Fort Wilderness. And it's kind of a give and take. I mean, if you want to be spread out, if you want to have this extra space, you don't want to be on top of each other, you're gonna have some distance between some things. So they do have an internal bus system. So it only runs within Fort Wilderness. There is one bus that runs within Fort Wilderness and slides over there to Wilderness Lodge. And it can be confusing for people, but it's very simple if you kind of do this. One's heading one direction, one's heading left, and one's heading right. And when you're at a bus stop, the very kind bus drivers will open up, ask you where you're going, and they'll either say hop on, or they'll say, hey, wait for the next bus heading the opposite direction.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
it's kind of confusing, but if you just stop and just say, hey, I'm going to the outpost, which is the front of the resort, or you say, hey, I'm going to the settlement, which is the back of the resort, where you've got that's where you're going to go to head to Magic Kingdom on the boat, to see Hoop-de-Doo, to have the beach and everything up there. So you just ask them just ask where they're going. I believe there's a yellow, there's an orange, and there's a purple. But they stop at every bus stop, and you just kind of tell them what you're going to do, and they'll kind of show you where you're going to go. But yeah, so all the parking, what they intend for you to do is to drive your car to the campsite, whether that's a cabin or whether that's the campsite specific, and then from there utilize the internal transportation. Or if you have a golf cart, you can rent the golf cart, and you can actually park your golf cart at these spots. So you can drive it up to the settlement, park your golf cart, and go to the park for 8 or 10 hours. When you come back, your golf cart's going to be sitting there, so you can hop on your golf cart and ride back while you're coming. But it's not designed for cars to be driving through there. You're not going to park your car in different places throughout the resort. It's going to be, hey, you park it here and you kind of leave it there. But
it
it
makes
is
it
kind of right
safer
there.
too. That
I was
way, I feel
literally
like
jinxed.
so much safer. All the kids running around, all
Yeah.
that things, activities going on. That makes it a lot more safe.
Yep.
I feel like.
Right.
absolutely. And then if you've got one car, you can park it there, and then you can if you got two cars, you can park the other one at the front. Either way, it's a gated. It's going to be safe. You're not going to have any issues or problems
Okay.
when it comes to that. So you're good there.
Great.
When we were
And-
there, we were walking down to the ranch, and we obviously looked pretty lost or frustrated because like we were just dragging the kids and we didn't realize how far of a walk it was.
Oh yeah.
And you don't know this, but I had like three at the time. They were 3 under 5, and so I was like dragging 3 little boys down the road, and like I probably looked like I was yelling, and I was. And so this guy stopped on a cart and he's like, "Hey, can I drive you guys somewhere?" So like I think that if the cast members see you and they're going by, they'll pick you up and drop you off. He was really cool. He's like, if you don't want to wait for the bus, just flag somebody down and they'll probably pick you up. I was like, that's pretty cool. Got a good vibe there, like a real
It's
relaxed
unique.
vibe.
They really are a community of people. They're people that stay there constantly. There's people that, during Halloween and during Christmas, they'll all decorate their golf carts, and they'll all have little golf cart parades throughout the area. And so, yeah, you'll see people all the time, reaching, helping you here, when we go and we have s'mores. A lot of times we don't even buy the stuff because people will buy so much that everybody just kind of shares with one another. So it's a really nice
Cool.
kind of close-knit community there.
That's
Do
really
they
cool.
have fire pits at each individual campsite?
Oh, I've Googled
So-
this one. They do not.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
right. So I believe they've got grills, but they don't have
Yes.
fire pits, and they're very specific about what you can use to in those areas. And there's a list. You can Google it, but you're not starting a fire. Simply put, they're not going to allow you
Yeah.
to stop a fire. You can have certain of those different. I think it has to be a completely enclosed.
Yeah, it has to be off the ground and enclosed, and it has to have like the netting kind of over it, not like just like they don't want any fire getting out, just in case
Right.
like something like sparked up on it. They don't want it lighting anything on fire.
Yeah.
I've Googled this because I grew up camping my whole life, and my parents are like, I really want to go there. I want to sit around a fire pit. And I was like, I don't think I've noticed a lot of fire pits when I was there last time. And I Googled it, and that's, you have to get a specific certain kind of one.
I did hear that though, like they have the communal fire pit, and occasionally Chip and Dale will come out and roast marshmallows.
That's
So
cool.
what they do is they have a Chip and Dale campfire sing-along. It's every single night. It's usually 7 or 8 o'clock, depending on what time of the year. It's absolutely free. Chip and Dale will come out with one person. They'll do the sing-along, and then typically what happens is they'll walk throughout the crowd, and Chip will go one way and Dale will go the other way. It's kind of hard to you never will get both of them in one picture. You probably won't meet both of them because they're kind of getting through and getting out, but you'll have time to meet one of them. And that's also the same place where they have the movie Under the Stars. So right after the campfire sing-along, you'll have the movie there. But during that entire time, they have large fire pits where the kids can go and roast marshmallows and make s'mores.
That's awesome. And
That's
we
really
were
cool.
talking how holidays, right? People go all out
They do.
at Fort Wilderness for the holidays. Halloween and Christmas, like if you want to stay there for either of those holidays, it is like you are booking a year in advance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have to. You're just not gonna get. And really, when we say this, I don't think it's so much as the cabins, but yes, it's really those campsites and probably and we say campsites. There's 2 different types. Obviously, there's camping in a campsite where you're in a tent, and that's kind of in a different area. But yeah, all those other camper sites are, people go all out. They decorate everything. They absolutely go out, and it's pretty difficult even a year in advance to get everything.
Lauren, tell us about, what do you got for us?
Well, first of all, I've got this Fort Wilderness vintage shirt from River
Of course she does.
Of course she does.
Vintage always.
It's so old. I forget who I got it from on 100 Acre Wood Co. He always finds like these random really old cool shirts, but when I saw River Country, I'm like, I need that. That is the abandoned water park that used to be part of Fort Wilderness. We'll talk about that in another episode. Okay, so what I've got for you is, as you all know, I'm like a big, huge fan of just Walt Disney himself and his history and what drove him to build Walt Disney World and Disneyland and everything. I just find everything about him and his history fascinating. And one of his favorite things is horses. I mean, he loved horses. Obviously, I love horses. Clint, I live on a farm. I have horses in my backyard. So I'm a big
Awesome.
rancher. Not rancher, but like big ranch girl. So I really love how much he appreciates and respects the animal, because it's definitely a lost interest. I think, it's become so expensive for people to have horses and everything. And if you guys hear Doug from Up in the background, it's my dog is attacking his Doug toy. So you might just hear that, like, yes, master. That's what's going on. So they say the Walt Disney World horses are the happiest horses on earth. And it's really true. And I've talked a little about this before in other episodes. They have, if anyone cares, all kinds of breeds of horses there. They have Appaloosas, Clydesdales, Percherons, quarter horses, Shetland ponies for the pony riding, and some beautiful Arabians. These horses are treated better. Like, if I want to die and come back as a horse at Tri-Circle D Ranch when I die, so Tri-Circle D Ranch, obviously the three circles are the Mickey Mouse, emblem, and D stands for Disney. So these stables are nicer than my house. They're gorgeous. You could eat off the floor. It's so clean. It's unbelievable. So you can go visit the stables there. There's a couple things going on there for horses. There's the stables, and then there's Tri-Circle D Ranch. So you can do trail rides there, and you can also just go visit this new stables that were built in 2020. I have all my notes here, and I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So near the area that Clint was talking about before, where Hoop-de-Doo Review is, where the beach is, where you're going to catch the boats for Magic Kingdom, that is where the newer stables are, and that's where you'll get the pony rides. They're $8, which is like one of the cheapest things you can do in Disney. Yeah. It's like 2 laps around, this little like area, but it's so cute for kids. So my little ones did it because they aren't old enough to ride on the trail rides there. So you can't book this in advance. This is something you just go there and show up. And if they have availability, you can get on. They're open from, did I even know what time they're open on here? I think it's 10 a.m. Yes, I think it's 10 a.m. Oh yeah, 10
it says 10 to 5
p.m.
in our notes.
Yeah, 10 a.m. to 5 daily. It's free to walk around the barn. You can see they have all these massive stalls that you can walk through this area. And then in the back, you can't walk through there because that's where they're actually like tacking up the horses and stuff. But when the bigger carriage horses are resting, you can walk through their stalls and you'll see like the horses that are in the parade or being ridden by characters or being used to, it's the main horses, the ones that are used.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, is it the horses from like Main Street Carriage or?
Yeah, it's the main horses. So you can see like the horses that are used in the parade. You can see the horses that are used at the weddings. And they also have Cinderella's carriage there and all the tack that goes with that for the parade, for the weddings. So those weddings you see on TV, like all the big Disney weddings, you can see those beautiful white Clydesdales there. And they're all so comfortable. They're all laying down in their perfectly clean shavings. I've never seen a piece of manure in the barn. It's wild. It doesn't even smell like there's horses there. And they also have, so on top of all that, they have like a little museum dedicated to Walt Disney and his love for horses. And it's like a video that's on a constant loop that you can watch. It's pretty cool. I mean, if you're into horses or you're a little girl, I always ask my clients, a little bit about their family and what everyone's into so that I can appropriately guide them towards the resort or their activities. And if you have little girls, I'm always asking, are they into horses? Because if they're into horses, this is just such a nice thing to do on a day off, is just go over there. It's free. Go walk around, visit the horses. So that part's awesome on its own. And I'll post a video on our Instagram of me completely frothing over it. The last time I was there, I was like losing my mind. And
she was talking about that for like weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm going here. I'm happy you finally did it.
I loved it. It was so cute. And it's crazy because like remember I said I didn't even want to stay at Animal Kingdom for the longest time because I'm sick of animals and I go on vacation to get away from them. Then I go over to a ranch to see more horses. But they also have in the front by where the parking lot is, that's where you will check in to go on trail rides. And now trail riding is something that you will book ahead of time. You can do it the day of if it's available. It's not one of the most popular things in Disney, so 9 times out of 10 you're going to get availability, but just remember that it's not guaranteed because it could be full. And that is $55 a person. It's a 45-minute ride. It's for beginners or intermediate riders. It's just a walking trail. And these horses are push button. If you've never ridden a horse before, you can get on them. They will go over if you've ever been to any kind of like visitors ranch, or dude ranch or anything like that, or riding lessons or trail rides or anything, that the wrangler will give you a quick breakdown of like how to steer the horse, how to stop the horse, how to get it to go right, left, turn it, all that. So they will go over that with you. They check your weight before you get on because there's a 250-pound maximum. You can't be more than that. And you have to be 48 inches or 9 years old to ride. So they will check your weight. They will give you a little quick rundown. They'll give you a helmet because that's required. You can't get on without a helmet. And you go for a little 45-minute walk around Disney property, which is really, really special, I think. If you're an experienced rider, even intermediate, it might be a little bit boring for you. It's more of just the experience. I just think it's really cool that they even offer this. Disney doesn't mention this on their website, but I'm just going to tell you as a horse girl, wear pants. Because they tell you what to wear and bring, and they say a shoe with a strap on the back, closed toed. Obviously, you always have to wear closed toes around horses, unless you're an idiot like me that wears flip-flops outside. But you should also wear something with a slight heel, because especially if it's your first time and you're a little nervous, a lot of people wear sneakers on horses. When I used to work at a dude ranch, they would wear sneakers and their feet would be sliding out all the time. If you wear a little bit of a heel, it'll stop your foot from falling out of the stirrup. A lot of new riders kind of hold on for that. Not that these horses are taking off, but do that and wear pants, because if you're going to Disney, you're probably packing shorts. You probably don't think you need pants for anything. You're going to ride that horse. Your legs are going to be rubbing the entire time, and you're not going to be walking for the rest of your trip. So wear pants, bring pants.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. They do have complimentary lockers when you check in. So if you bring some stuff with you, you can throw it on in there. And that's about all I got. Trail rides are offered 8 o'clock, 9:30, and 11 a.m., and then 12:30 p.m. and 2 p.m. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day to be able to do this. Anyway, I think that's one of the coolest things that they do in Disney.
That's different, and it's not crazy expensive to do. I mean, even if you just take your kids there and for $8, take them on the pony rides, that would probably be one of the highlights of their trip for $8.
Yeah, we had
seeing the horses and taking pictures for free. That's totally worth it to me.
Yeah, we had a couple down days, and I was like, you know what, let's go over there for a little bit. We'll grab lunch after, and we'll just, hang out by the water. And that's what we did. We just went, and it was a half a day activity. It could be as long as you want it to be. Mm-hmm. We wandered the property. I thought something else that was really cool there is there's a ton of dog parks, because a lot of people bring their dogs. So when they're camping, and there's dog parks all over, which is really cool for them. But yeah, you can make a day of it. So I know I encourage a lot of my clients to take a day or two as down days if they're on a trip that's more than a couple days. And that would be one thing that you could do for free, maybe half Disney Springs Day, half of Fort Wilderness Day. There's a lot of, I'm a big person on doing things outside of just the theme parks in Disney, and this is one of those special things you can do.
What else is super special here, Dawn?
So I'm just gonna go into a little bit of the dining. So I went and I stayed at Fort Wilderness this time last year, and I met my friends. They rented the RV, which I'll go into a little bit about that in a little bit. But the day after we got there, the night before, they did the Hoop-Dee-Doo review, and I was like, oh my God, I missed it. But I have a whole bunch of videos and pictures. I sent some to Lauren just to post on our Instagram. So Hoop-Dee-Doo review is a family style dining. It is dinner and a show. I am all about watching shows and eating dinner and being interactive. I worked at Medieval Times in college in Myrtle Beach. So
You did?
I worked there my whole time at Coastal Carolina. I worked at Medieval
I
Times
didn't
with
know
my friend
that.
Nicolette. I loved it. I love that kind of stuff. I love watching. I go to like a lot of like murder mystery dinners, like anything that's dinner and a show, I'm here for it. So at Fort Wilderness, they have the Hoop-de-Doo Review. So they have the Pioneer Hall Players, is what they're called. It's a 2-hour interactive dancing, sing along, and some comedy is thrown in there. It's all you can eat, family style, fried chicken, smoked barbecued pork ribs, salad, beans, cornbread, macaroni and cheese, coleslaw, and strawberry shortcake. The cool thing about this for all the adults they have unlimited draft beer, wine, and sangria, and soft drinks
There's
are
trouble.
included in your price.
Yeah.
Trouble. That's
I'm here for
Clint's
that.
like, I'm speaking from experience here.
No, I wouldn't dare. Not at
Unlimited
Disney
2
World.
hours. Do they ever cut anybody off, you think?
Thank God.
If they were smart, they would.
Right.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So with this, you have to arrive 30 minutes prior to the reservation time for check-in. The doors open at 4 o'clock, 6:15, and 8:30, and seating will begin immediately at those times. And then the show will start 20 minutes after the seating takes place. So this is really important to know, to get there early, because if you have to park, if you're taking a car in, you have to park at the front entrance and take the bus. And the bus could take a half an hour to get you there. So you don't want to have to rush. Get there early so you don't have to worry about that, because they do have these seating times. It's not just like any old, you can just walk in and have a reservation and sit down and be late. You want to be there for the whole experience. You're paying for the whole experience, so get there early.
Clint, would you suggest that, since you've been there and stuff, would you suggest that if somebody's going there and they're maybe staying over in Magic Kingdom area or something, that it's easier to take the boat from Magic Kingdom over?
So yeah, it's absolutely easier to take the boat, because when you disembark from the boat, you're in that area, right? So you're in that, you're already in that section. So there's no bus at that point. The only thing when you have to worry about that boat is, I mean, just real quick. So there's 2 boats. There's one that's small that you kind of walk down into, and it carries about maybe 30 or 40 people. That one's not going to be available for anybody in a wheelchair, anybody, that can't make that walk. They have then a bigger one that actually has space for wheelchairs and scooters and stuff. So, and that carries a lot more people. And then if it'll ride in rain, but it will not ride in lightning or a thunderstorm. So they'll just shut it. Yeah, they'll just shut it on down, and you'll have to kind of make your way to where you're going. But then I think I've never booked Hoop-de-Doo Review, but they do have categories. So you're paying a certain amount for balcony, floor.
Yeah, so they do have, it's 3 different seating categories. They have category 1, 2, and 3. Category 1 is the wheelchair accessibility, because they have a balcony and they do not have an elevator for the balcony seating. So if you need if you're in a wheelchair or need some kind of extra help, you want to stay on the first level. So that's category 1. So for category 1, the main floor, it's $74 for the adults and $44 for children, which all you can eat and all you can drink, that's a pretty good price, I want to say. Yeah. Category 2 is $69 for adults and $40 for children. And then category 3 on the balcony is $66 for adults and $39 for children. So the prices with that, tax and gratuity are included in that, which is awesome. For the Hoop-de-Doo Review, it is prepaid. So you are going to prepay for this dinner on your credit card way ahead of time. Now you can cancel, but you want to make sure you cancel within the certain time frame so you don't get charged, because you won't get that money back. I actually prefer being prepaid, because then you don't have to worry about it. You pay
when
for
you
it,
get there,
the 2 months in advance or 60 days, and you don't have to worry about it. It's paid for, one less thing on your credit card when you get back from Disney.
A little like go back in time for a second. I once did the Mickey's Backyard Barbecue. Yeah. If I recall, wasn't that at Fort Wilderness also?
Yep. It's right behind that building where Pioneer Hall is. So it's right behind that building. They don't do it anymore,
right? Like, gosh, this was way back when, but
no. And what stinks is that for so long they kept it on the website. Like you could book it and you'd go to it and it would show it, but you'd never see availability, and they just stopped doing it altogether.
Yeah. Okay, because it was
Uh,
cute as heck.
Hopefully they bring it back with all these things they're bringing back, because like I
Yeah.
feel like they're bringing back a lot of the old stuff everyone loved lately, like
Yeah.
putting it in. So maybe fingers
Maybe
crossed.
2024.
Definitely.
What
But
else they got?
yeah, so that's just a little bit about Hoop-de-Doo review. I can't wait to go. I'm excited for that. Other dining they have Meadow Snack Bar, which is just a grab and go by the Meadow Pool. They have the Crockett Tavern that has moonshine flights and a lot of like bar kind of appetizer type food. Clint's shaking his head.
Why are you
No.
shaking
This is
your
why
head?
this is his
It's
favorite
just such a
resort. He's
bad
like
idea.
unlimited
I
beer and
don't
wine,
do
moonshine flights.
this alcohol. It's just such a bad idea on a vacation, an expensive vacation. It's just not my thing. Not a good idea for me.
Well,
But
because
go
for the
ahead.
longest time, you couldn't find alcohol almost anywhere but Epcot.
Yeah,
And it's
right.
like, and now it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Except Magic Kingdom.
They had the Chuck Wagon, but right now Chuck Wagon is currently closed for refurbishments. That's just another place that has burgers. They have a burger that has mac and cheese on it. I saw on the menu, and that
Ooh.
Again, you know your American win.
yeah, you put mac and
Yeah.
cheese on your
True.
burger. And then they
I'd
had the
order that.
Trails End restaurant, and that's a buffet for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Last thing, I know we
Which was
talked about this. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
that was redone pretty recently, or
I
like it was
have
closed and reopened.
I have clients that are diehard Trails End
Yeah,
fans.
it's so those people that that are picky eaters, like this is the mecca for them. This is like where they go to get all that comfort down home food.
Okay.
And
Chicken
then that
fingers, mac and cheese.
oh yeah, absolutely. And then I
Pizza.
think they've got, what is it called? PB. What's the window called? The PB.
Oh, I don't know. Wait, maybe I have.
There's a window.
Like a walk-up window?
Yeah, there's a walk-up window, and you can order the stuff that you can get from Trails End without having to actually stay
Interesting.
at, and it's called I'll find it in just a second.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of weird, but you can get
Yeah.
whole pizzas. You can get you can get that kind of stuff and order it from the app and all that good stuff. I'll figure it out at some point in time. But
While he's looking
yeah.
up that, oh, go ahead. What were you
You
saying?
find it?
Not yet. I'll find it in a second.
Okay, so you can rent if you don't have an RV. You can rent an RV and they will deliver it to Fort Wilderness for you. Tell us
Yeah,
about
so
it,
that's
John.
what we did when we were there. Well, I went with my friend Chelsea and Carl and their kids, and they rented an RV, which is awesome because they come and they set it up for you and they break it down for you. So,
And like Carl's an RV person. Like he has an RV, and he was like, "This is way easier," and rented it that way.
And it's pretty cheap. So when he did it, I was talking to him. He went through an RV share, but also he was looking at Kissimmee Orlando RV rental. And I went in there just to look at their prices. So there's so many different RVs. Some sleep 4 and a lot of them sleep up to like 8 to 11 people. So but to rent those, the prices range from like $100 to $250 a night, which if you're renting an 11-person RV for $250 a night, like, and you're splitting that amongst all of you, that's
Even
pretty
if
nice.
it's like 6, right? Even if you put 6 people in
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we
Well, the
had
good thing is,
Carly, if you're listening,
adults.
Carly,
Yeah.
agent trip to Fort Wilderness.
That would be awesome. Literally, we had 5 adults and 2 kids, and we were all super comfortable in the RV. And it had 2 bathrooms, the living room, multiple TVs. It had a like the awning that went out, but it was off the ground and it had its own like little deck seating with a TV. Like it was super bougie and really nice. And then you have your own this like little area. So I really enjoyed that. Like I said, I grew up camping. I had we did the tent thing when I was little, and my parents were like, never again, because a rainstorm happened once and the water was coming in the tent and they were like, I can't do this. So we got an RV and I love this idea. It brings me back to my childhood. So this is something I definitely want to try. I had on here the certain type of fire pits, which we talked about. And I just think this is a great option if you like the camping. We went, like I said, this time last year, we went it was Halloween. Everything was decorated. People go all out on their campsites. We're going to post some of those on our Instagram sites. I took a bunch of videos, but it is awesome.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this is when you do this, you can get up to 10 people on that reservation. which you can't. I mean, there's not another resort room really that you can do that where you're not paying thousands of dollars for like a 2-bedroom
Yeah.
suite somewhere.
Yeah, like a
But you can
2-bedroom
do
villa for like
right.
$13,000.
Yeah, you can go and do this, and you can actually have and see what I did when I went with my family. There was no way in heck I was staying in a camper with a bunch of kids, my parents and my wife. So what I did was I slept in a tent just outside
The
just
camper.
outside the camper. So I would have peace and quiet, and I would get cold and I'd have to run in, but I would have peace and quiet for about 8 hours a night. And so, now however many people can fit in that area, you're going to get 10 people on that reservation. And it's going to be extremely cost effective,
Yeah.
because every other place is going to have a max of 4, a max of 5, a max of 6, and here you're going to max of 10.
Yeah.
Clint-
And you can bring your dog, which is one of the resorts you can bring your dog to. And this is what's something that's like me and my family have been talking about more, because I live in Florida and we all have dogs. And I'm like, this would be great. We can like walk around the campsite and have the dog in the camper, or have the dog, we rent one of those cabins. So
Clint, did you ever see snakes there?
No.
Oh Lord.
I
Okay.
never saw snakes. Believe me, I would tell you. I'm not a friend of snakes. But what's crazy there is you'll see deer just walking. I mean, they will be. I've never been as close to a deer in my life. Just walking down the sidewalk at Fort Wilderness. They don't move. They don't spook. They stand there. Same with turkey. They just walk around. They are not affected by anybody. The
They're
buses
so
have to
used
stop
to it.
sometimes. Yeah, and it's awesome just to be able to look and just to see them hanging out.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool.
That's like
It's
the
really
Disney
cool.
ducks. Like the Disney ducks have no fear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a Disney Ducks version of Fort Wilderness version of animals.
Clint, what
But that
other activities are there?
Yeah. Oh, real quick, that takeout spot called
Oh,
P&J Southern Takeout. So it's just
Okay.
a window right there by Trails Inn, and you can order the majority of stuff that's on the stuff, and including pizzas and stuff. But as far as other things to do there is a lot. You can rent a boat for fishing. You can rent a canoe or a kayak for fishing. You can fish off the bank. You can rent fishing gear. You guys talked about all the horseback riding. They used to do Segway tours. I'm not sure if they do that anymore or not. They have carriage rides and archery and tennis, volleyball, basketball courts. They just have so much to do.
they have
And so
archery.
they have archery. So
Oh.
you can do just tons of stuff there. You can also, do the fireworks on the beach and see the fireworks from Magic Kingdom. You can't see all of them, but you can see the ones
Yeah.
that are pretty high in the air. And they'll also
Okay.
pipe the music in so that you hear the music, and you kind of get that feel. And then right afterwards, you get the electrical water parade.
I
That's
was just
from
gonna ask, we get the
Dude. It's
like
so
it goes all the
awesome.
way down to
It
there,
is,
right?
yeah. It's so awesome. It's so old, and it's one of my favorite things there. And I
Mine
It is
too.
freak
so
out. We
old
have to stop
school.
what we're doing. It is the
It's so
oldest. I mean,
old.
it looks like it's going to fall apart, and it just sounds like the oldest thing you've ever heard. And you're
Like
just
you're
they
like,
like,
wind it up, like they
I mean,
wind
it's
it
like,
up before
yeah.
they send it.
it's just the funniest thing in the world. And every time we see it, we have to stop, and we just have to stop and stare at what it is. But yeah, you can see all that stuff from the beach.
That's
We talked about pets. And, some people, even now, some people are big smokers. And so, however you feel about that, I have one client that's like, this is where we go because my husband can step outside and he can have a smoke and he doesn't have to go to a designated area. So you can smoke on your cabin's deck. You can smoke in designated areas, obviously, and stuff like that. So that's a big thing for some people.
now I'm gonna bring my
And
mother-in-law to Disney.
No, I mean, I
I
will
feel like that's
say
what she's always worried
Me
about.
too.
it was, I mean, I was staying
it's
at
a
an
big
Animal
thing.
Kingdom Lodge where someone beneath me was smoking a cigarette like on their balcony. And it's like, one, we are a Savannah view.
Yeah, with the
Two,
animals.
yeah, but two, it's like,
Oh
I mean,
God.
where do they go? They have to go like all the way to the parking
Yeah.
lot, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the biggest thing for them, because their family wasn't even the size really to stay in a camper. They had 4 people, so they have tons of room. And so so the husband could literally walk out the front door and have a cigarette, and then kind of go about his day, because he certainly is not going to be able to do that in the park. And the other thing about those cabins is that they have full refrigerators, they have dishwashers, they've got
Mhm.
pots and pans, and so it's the only place other than those suites that are going to have, you know, if people are thinking, hey, we're going to make our own meals here, you know, you can certainly do that. And, you know, and that's save money there, or, you know,
How
decide
many
you're going to
times have
eat.
you stayed there?
I've done the cabin once, and I've done the RV once. Yeah, so I've gone twice.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So, I mean,
Which one do you
it's
like
a
better?
lot
Do you
of
like the
fun.
RV
Ooh,
or the
yeah,
cabin?
what do you like better? Completely different experience.
Yeah, I mean, the cabins are nice. They have they have bunk beds inside that back room with a queen
Yeah.
bed. So if you want to use some separation, you ain't gonna get it. And then but they're nice to have. I mean, they're nice. I would probably say a campsite. The campsites, because they're spread throughout the entire place, you can have a campsite that's right beside the Meadow Trading Post, which is, you know, where all the stuff is. Or you know, they have some what they call loops, and you can request a loop, and you know, as travel agents we can call in and request a loop for you, but
What's a
some
loop?
loops are
What's a
oh,
loop?
so when you look at the map, every area, for, you know, whether it's cabins, whether it's tents, whether it's travel, campers and RVs, all have loops. And so it's like loop 2100 and loop 2200, and it's all throughout the park, I mean all throughout the resort. And so some loops are pet loops. So maybe you don't want to be beside the person that's got, you know, 4 dogs and that are barking all hours of the night, or want to have to worry about stepping in anything. But there are pet specific loops, and they put those people there because they're kind of all kind of the same kind of people. And they have other areas that are not. So
good to
you
know.
can kind of get one that one's a little bit further away, or this one's a little bit closer, or this one's closer to the beach. And that's kind of where we talked about the pricing as well. And some of those pricing is going to affect the size of your pad. You know, your concrete pad that you're going to be on. You know, obviously, if you're in a tent, you don't need a huge concrete pad. But if you're in a huge RV, you're going to need a premium pad. So you're going to need one of the larger ones. So you just kind of have to know what you're bringing there, and what you're putting on those pads. And but yeah, once you get there, you unpack it. Some people like to have we used to always get one right beside the station, the bathrooms and stuff. So you can just come right out of there. But then some people don't like that right beside you, people are constantly walking up and down the way. But it, you know, it's whatever. It's whatever you make of it. But they do have a laundry station where you can walk in and do your laundry. And then, but those bathrooms are very nice, having closed showers that, you know, you can have your privacy and everything. It's a really nice place. It's pretty beautifully done.
I feel like this is the kind of place where like you 100% need a travel agent, and that's Clint, because if you don't know what you're doing with this, I remember when Chelsea and Carl were booking this, and Carl had a ton of questions, and I was familiar with Fort Wilderness, but I wasn't familiar with at the time with the campsite setups and stuff. So having an agent that is familiar with this resort and that has the campgrounds resort area and has stayed there and done all of the different kinds of setups is really important. So obviously, if you're thinking about it, reach out to Clint. We will put all of his information on here, because this is, you know, I always say, like, there's times where people have reached out to me about a trip and I'm like, oh, you got to go with this agent. Like, I know I'm giving up money, but they know the most about it. Like seriously, I mean, I think Dawn, remember a couple months ago, there was the one girl and I was like, she wants to stay at Swan. I'm sending her to you, because if you have a client that, an agent that really loves one resort, or that's their home resort, and they know the most about it, especially something like this, Fort Wilderness, where there's so many moving parts to it. Like you just said, like, I wouldn't even think about the pad setup, you know, like the cement pad setup. I would never even think of that. So having an agent that's familiar with this is important. I mean, you make the most of your trip. So obviously, if you're thinking about this, reach out to Clint.
Yeah,
absolutely. I actually booked one today. So I booked a family that never stayed anywhere but the regular resorts, that decided to get a camper. I mean, they decided to get a cabin. So you know.
Okay. The cabins, I mean, that sounds really cool if you're going down with a group of friends, even, and you just, you know, like, get a lot more time. You're not spread out in hotel rooms. It just sounds like fun.
So let me just say one thing about the cabin. Do we have a couple minutes left?
Yeah.
Okay. So I love the cabins. Let me be very clear. I love the cabins. But let's be for
But-
real what a cabin is. So these cabins are rectangle,
Okay.
essentially mobile homes.
Okay.
They have retrofitted wood on the side. Now, they are the nicest homes you're going to be in, right? It's very nice. It's very clean. It's very updated. But at the end of the day, I don't want anybody showing up thinking that they're staying in Abraham Lincoln's log cabin or something.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but
You're not glamping.
Right.
let's be for real what this is. And everybody's got a deck. Everybody's got a picnic table right there. There's an indoor seating as well. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're looking at. It's these rectangle that they were at one point in time mobile homes that have been updated, retrofitted, and built to look like log cabins. But they
And
are super
yeah.
nice and they're nice.
With that, my great friends, they stayed there, I think last fall, and they loved it, but they said they could hear, like, they weren't very soundproof. Like, you could hear your neighbors pretty easily.
I never
Do
had
you
that
agree with that?
experience, but
No?
I don't have that experience. But I guess if I would have loud neighbors or maybe neighbors that had dogs barking, I might have. You might do that. And then there's also like the way that the placement is. Obviously, there are going to be places where as those curves kind of come in because it's a very curvy area. Some are going to be a little bit further away than others. But I did not feel that way. I mean, we loved it. You know, the biggest thing to get over is just that internal bus system. And a lot of people get kind of discouraged about that or scared about that, but it's really not that big of a deal. And it's very complicated if you're going to explain it to somebody, but it's simply just the people open the door, where you go, and I'm going here, hop on or wait for the next one. It's literally that easy. It's not hard at all.
I wish you could like bring your horse and ride your horse from building to building. That'd be
I don't know
cool.
why you couldn't at this point. I mean,
That'd
really,
be really cool. I'll reach out to somebody and ask.
you'd be
Right?
the first one to figure out if
Hey.
that's allowed or not.
Can I rent a stall for like 7 days?
Yeah.
Just trailer your horse down.
He would
Now we
never.
should say, right? He'd be like, this place
I'm
I
not
get
coming back to
clean
your dump.
shavings, okay?
Yeah, yeah. You don't pick up the manure nearly as fast as these people
Right?
do. I was told when the kids were riding the ponies, I was like, ooh, when I retire, this is the job I want. And the lady was like, this is the most sought after job in Disney. She's like, this is so hard to get. There's like a huge wait list. She's like, I've waited 7 years to be, she's just like, she works in the ranch and she's leading pony rides. And she just literally braids the pony's hair and pets the ponies and brushes the ponies all day. They're white. They're so clean.
Oh my
Like
God,
I said, you
that's
could
your
eat
dream
these-
job.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, this is like the hardest job in Disney to get. I was like,
One funny thing about the horses is when they were redoing the ranch, they moved them down there towards the buses,
right.
which is great, right? You can see the ponies while you're waiting for the bus. But if
Yeah.
you're waiting for a bus and it's going to take 30 minutes for a bus to get there because maybe you just left, the last one just left. You've got the smell of the horses just right there, and you're just like, this is terrible. So it's not probably a good place to be.
I love it.
But once I'm glad they're not there anymore because it was rough there for a little while.
Oh my God, baking in that
It certainly
Florida
was
heat.
rough there.
But we should say, I mean, preface, regardless of like the rusticness of it, this is a sought out place.
It
Like
is.
you
Yeah.
are, I mean, the rarity of getting a last minute booking is high. Like the chances are.
Well, if you want to just camp in a tent, you can pretty much always get a last minute booking. There's been a couple times
As a
where I was like,
campsite.
You
really want to go down
can.
this weekend. Spirit flights are $25. I'm like, well, I
You
guess I
can.
can camp. And I'm like,
Hey, the agent rate for a cabin, I mean, the agent rate for a tent site will make you think twice. You will
Oh my God.
sit there and go, wow, that's a good deal.
$50
That's
a
a
night.
good
Again,
deal. It's literally
Hey,
like
Carly,
$50 a night.
agent trip to Fort Wilderness.
Yeah, this would be
I'm gonna
awesome.
text Carly
And
right now.
and they will rent you a tent as well. You don't have to bring your own tent. You can rent a tent
Oh,
from them.
cool.
Oh,
I
I've
think
got
it's
a bomb ass
I
tent
think
though.
it's
I would bring down.
$50. See, that's what I would do. I would bring a bomb
I
tent
have
and
a
then
bomb
throw
tent. It's got
throw
like
an air
2
mattress in there
separate
and be done
rooms
with
in
it.
An
it.
air mattress for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
Air mattress, little portable air conditioner because you've got power hookup there.
Right.
You know,
And
you've
snake
got the
repellent.
same power hookup.
I would bring
I've
snake
never seen a
repellent.
snake down there.
Oh my god.
Snake
Well,
It's
just
like,
a
what
little
if you're
snake away.
I've
sleeping?
never seen a snake down there.
Ugh.
Oh, but if you are staying at these places, you do have to be aware that when you dump your trash, you have to put your trash in the lockable garbage cans because the raccoons will go nuts. They love Disney food.
Oh, little rockets.
And now we know that there's bears in Disney World, so
Yeah, we gotta be careful of
Right.
that.
I didn't
Those
know
bears
that. I
out
didn't
of
know that till
trees.
recently.
all
So-
right, guys. So Clint, where can people find you? Social media?
Yeah, so Facebook, it's gonna be Hodgepodge Travel with Clint and Melissa.
Okay.
Awesome.
I
And
have
good luck to
Hodgepodge
Melissa.
Vacations. It's travel, not vacations.
No, it's vacations. I'm sorry. We
Okay,
just changed
okay.
it yesterday. We went back and forth about 75 times. So
Okay.
it's going to be Hodgepodge Vacations by Clint and
Clint
Melissa.
Mesa.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Do you have a quote
So
for
you
us
get
today,
2 for
Lauren, or are we
1.
passing?
I have adventures out there from Up.
Cheers to that.
Oh wait, no, it wasn't that. It was the wilderness must be explored.
Yes.
That too. I like them both.
Yeah. Well, good luck, guys. Or good luck to
Yes.
Melissa, Clint. That's really cool that you get a 2-for-1 package when you book with them. So
You do.
that's killer. Good luck to you guys, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you. Thanks for having me.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Our pleasure. And don't forget, everyone, thank you for listening to this episode of Spillin' the Teacups. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Spillin' the Teacups and listen to wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to bring the vacation home with you with Magic Candle Company and use our code SPILLIN2020 to get 20% off your order. Thank you.
Night, guys.
Night.
All right. Thank you.